to see you. It's fun greeting you. Here we are.
Welcome back, still live and active here on Hell the Money, and this is In Full Course. My name is Bright Nana Kwesi Amaning, and we are talking about security this morning. And I'm been joined by Mr. Adib Saani, who is a security expert, not just locally, international security expert, I must say. Yes, and he joined me in the studio this morning. We're going to talk about the issues surrounding Ghana and Western Togoland. What are we building up? Are we creating a monster in our own environment? What exactly are we doing as a people? Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
You're welcome.
Very well, thank you.
Now, you still got me thinking after our last conversation about some of the security cameras and all that. So no whenever I walk to a place, I try to check.
You try.
Like, oh, is it? Camera the frame. Anyway, that's for another day. But welcome once again.
Thank you.
Are we creating a monster for ourselves as a country? Looking at what is happening between Ghana, I'm telling you, between Ghana and Western Togoland. If that's what we create in the first place, are we creating a monster?
Well, first of all, a very good morning to you, your highly efficient production team, and your viewers out there. Indeed, when this whole issue of Western Togoland started, it was more like a child's play. Unfortunately, the intelligence community couldn't put their intelligence together, so we didn't really appreciate the severity of the whole issue, and so we allowed it to just pass by like any normal day-to-day security challenge. It goes without saying that the leaders were arrested on 2 occasions. Unfortunately, they were left off the hook. And so what it has come to be today is something I find extremely disturbing, because like you rightly put it, I've studied extensively about similar events in other parts of especially the continent, from Congo, where some people want their Republic of Katanga, to northern Mali, where the Tuaregs, Arabs, and other Bedouin tribes want their Republic of Azawad. And we have something similar happening in Cameroon, Northwestern, where the English speakers want their Republic of Ambazonia. So this is very widespread. Apart from election-related violence, secessionist movements are one serious cataclysmic issue many African countries have had to deal with, and that has resulted in wars and unending human suffering. It is particularly also scary because this is not like 2 major militaries clashing head-on. No, it is about a state actor and a sub-state actor. So what they do is they engage in what we call in conflict studies asymmetrical warfare, where one is bigger than the other. So the smaller one would not also foolishly engage the bigger one head on. They hit and they run. That is why to date, America is still fighting the Taliban. It's the longest war America has had to go into, because they engage in hit and run tactics, which the Americans are not able to keep up with. And so what are they doing now? Negotiating. And they vanish. So you know, the Americans are now engaging them. Vietnam War between 1965 and 75. The Viet Cong, they engaged America in the trenches and in the jungles of Vietnam. They hit and they vanish into thin air. Nobody knows what where they are gone. Exactly what is happening in Nigeria. Nigeria has the most the most formidable army in West Africa. Yet the Nigerian army is not able to completely decimate Boko Haram, because they hit them and they run into the Sambisi forest. So it becomes extremely difficult. And so if we are not careful, these guys would become formidable, would get their supplies from not just within Ghana, but outside of Ghana, and become a much more potent rebel group than we ever could comprehend or even fathom. And it's particularly also precarious because they have forest cover. I understand when the military went on that siege, they had to walk for about 1.5 hours to get to where they are. So they can easily hit and they run because they will understand the jungle or the bush better than the military because they live there. They are indigents. So it can pose a problem for us. And it's also particularly disturbing because they're very close to Togo. So they can just hit and run into Togo. And under international law, we have no right to chase them into Togo because that would be a breach of their territorial integrity. Okay? And to even worsen everything is the fact that you have the indigents to a very large extent backing them because they see them as their sons, their daughters, as their freedom fighters because the people have succeeded in winning hearts and minds through different means, whether it's through coercive means, they use voodoo techniques, they use propaganda, they are able to engage in mind games and get the people to believe that really, yes, we are here to fight for you.
Now, I just wanted to take it back a little bit. Now, let's focus on what is actually causing this and where this is all coming from. Take me back a little bit.
Well, the Germans founded Togoland. Okay. No, it existed, but the name Togoland, they founded it in 1884. Okay. However, after the First World War that lasted between 1914 and 1917, we had the British and the French taking over that territory. So it was divided into French-administered Togoland and British administered Togoland. Okay, so technically, from the end of the First World War in 1917, it became part of British territory and of course French territory. However, it was put on paper somewhere in the early 1920s. So after the Second World War, in 1954, the British wrote to the UN telling them that, okay, Ghana is on the verge of independence, but we cannot administer our part of the Togoland from the time Ghana attains independence. So the UN would have to take actions so they engage in an election or whatever it is, then they decide who they want to join, whether the French or the English Ghana. And so in 1955, the UN General Assembly wrote to the effect that a plebiscite be organized for them to determine where they want to belong to. So in 1956, coincidentally, my birthday, I'm 9th May, not 1956.
Great point there.
So an election was organized. However, there was a Togoland Congress that was very much opposed to that process because they want the other people in that part to belong to the main Togoland, so they would have an ever union government, an ever territory. Unfortunately for them, after the election, about 42% of those Togolanders said, okay, fine, we would want to belong to the French. And about 58% said they would want to belong to the British. And so technically, from effective midnight 6th March 1957, they became part of Ghana, and it was officially sanctioned and recognized by the UN General Assembly Article 1044. And there is absolutely no document that points to the fact that it is a loose federation or they have their right to self-determination or whatever. They became part of Ghana from the midnight of 6th March 1957, period.
So they decided to be part of Ghana.
Yes.
So now that they are trying everything possible to be detached from Ghana and have their own territory, how bad can it get for the country in general?
Well, if I get you right, now that they've decided to be part of Ghana, but they want their own territory, like I indicated, it is scary because if it is not dealt well with, it can turn into something cataclysmic for Ghana. And so I have a four-pronged approach to dealing with the issue.
Take me through that.
First, the raids and the arrests is good because, one, it sends a clear signal to other persons in other parts of the country who might want to take the laws into their own hands and want to secede to do it according to the law. And that we are a country that is governed by the rule of law. We have processes and procedure to follow. If you feel you have been unjustly treated, rather than just wake up one morning and decide to secede. So if we don't go after them and arrest, it could so motivate or give other people the impetus in other parts of the country to also want to secede, because we dealt with the Togolanders with kid gloves, and so we'll deal with them with kid gloves. And what happens? Ghana would be in a state of, it will be really messy for us as a country. It will be in a state of disarray. And so we have to go after them, we have to arrest them, and most importantly, we have to make them go through the justice process as enshrined in the law. Secondly, it is extremely critical that when we're dealing with such an issue, we use our heads. Okay? Let us go beyond going after these middlemen or their foot soldiers and make a conscious attempt to go after the head of the snake. Because it is quite obvious that they have resources from elsewhere, money, logistics, etc. So there's a flow of blood. So what do? Let us cut that flow. But by going after the main command structure, where they get their what do we call it? Support from, the lifeline from, the blood from, where they get all the instructions from. When we cut it off, we would be starving them. And without the blood, they wouldn't be able to operate. So we have to deal with it intelligently, not the running helter-skelter, hey. No, it has to go beyond that. Third, because of the fact that there's a forest cover and they are close proximity with Togo, they easily would dash into Togo.
Yes.
And it is very synonymous with many conflict situations in Africa, cross-border, like Congo, crossing into Uganda, Rwanda, especially even during the genocide, we had some crossing. The Lord's Resistance Army, led by Joseph Kony, crosses border, attacks, goes back to his base. Liberia, when the fighting in Ivory Coast between 2010 and 2011, you had Liberian mercenaries coming into Ivory Coast, hitting and running. So it's very synonymous because of the closely knit nature of the African society. So they can easily seek refuge in Togo. And like I stated earlier, we don't have the mandate to follow them there. That is why it is critical to collaborate with the Togolese authorities, because when your neighbor's house is on fire and you don't help quench or douse the flames, what happens is it gets to you in no time. So if the Togolese authorities, which I must say is in their very best interest to help us, don't take any concrete action, the next time they would want their homeland from Togo as well, because currently for Nyasingbe, he's from the Kabye ethnic group, which is only about 15 to 20% of the population. However, over 70% of those in the army are from that ethnic group, those in high authorities. So the evidence
and elected, just to say.
Exactly. You know, so we knew the results before it even.
You knew the results.
You know, I can catalog to you the events of what has happened, because I've been following it keenly. I have people on the ground who have been feeding me with a lot of information.
I think it's come back for elections in Togo.
So the thing is, they have to help us. Whether through international arrest warrants and all that. After the Ivory Coast election violence, we had a lot of the the warlords coming in to seek refuge in Ghana, including Charles Blegude, also known as the Street General, and he was the general overseer of the Young Patriots, who did a lot of bad things in the country. So later, the Ghanaian authorities and the Ivorian authorities, they collaborated and had him repatriated back to Ivory Coast. Now he's standing trial at the International Criminal Court. So they need to help. And fourth, most importantly, human security. Like we had our pre-discussion before this interview. Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, they have issues with jihadists, so-called Islamist groups, because mostly government services don't get to those areas. So the guys fill the vacuum, impose taxes, make money, and provide services that the government cannot provide. And so they win the hearts and minds of the people.
So that means if you're a government and you're not providing what is necessary for the people, then it tends to go against you.
Yes. When you don't provide them with potable water, there's food insecurity, there's joblessness, there's poverty. Those guys come and tell the people, you see, they don't like us. We are treated unjustly. We are not part of the development process. And so side with us. We are your people. See, there was a budget, they forgot about the roads. It means they don't even think about us. So that is the propaganda they can engage in.
That is where I'm going to come from.
It is extremely critical for us to reverse that propaganda. Because currently, as it stands, trust me, the people support them. They are their sons and daughters. So what do we do to reverse the trend? Going out there, all out, providing the people what they need. It is not everything you can provide them. But we need to prove to them beyond reasonable doubt that you are part of the development process and we have not forgotten about you. So this has to be done hand in hand with the Buga Buga method. At the same time, providing them their human security needs. That is extremely critical because the fear is, if they engage in an asymmetrical warfare, our critical infrastructure would be in danger. They can stage attacks on the Akosombo. You know, it can disrupt, they can disrupt water supplies, they can disrupt electricity supplies. That would be extremely dangerous for us, you know. And once you have people like the Tamil Tigers did in Sri Lanka some years ago, where they stage attacks and, you know, vanish into thin air, it can discourage investment because Ghana would no longer be safe. Some 10 people can take the whole country to ransom. Stage attacks, hit them where it would hit them most. And that could spell doom for us as a country. So we really have to be intelligent in the way we...
How long have they been fighting to be alone or to be on their own?
Well, they haven't been fighting, okay, but they have been agitating succinctly for some time now. Unfortunately, like I indicated, we have BNI officers who are supposed to be in every metropolitan, municipal and district assembly in Ghana. They have regional officers. But these guys have turned themselves into errand boys for the MMDCs.
Yeah, I still on
yeah,
that one.
so they have lost focus on their primary responsibility. And so we are supposed to pick up intelligence. We're supposed to know what is going on so we are able to preempt and even prevent it from even happening in the first place. Unfortunately, the national security architecture has its own challenges with respect to politicization and you know, party foot soldierism, etc.
Don't you realize the intents of all these
agitations coming from the those trying to get their Togoland? Don't we see it as Ghanaians and as authorities that if we don't act fast, it might bounce back on us, like you're saying? So what is the realization here? And like you said, why in your own words BNI being used as errand boys? Don't we realize or recognize the intents of this whole agitations?
Like I said, usually to be able to recognize, you would have to have actionable intelligence. We have a cycle of intelligence. First, the intelligence would have to be mandated. It has to be sourced. After sourcing it, it has to be interpreted, okay? Because by interpretation, what I mean is we can see you walk into campus, okay? What if you are going to a training ground? So we would have to interpret that, yes, indeed, you are on your way to a training ground. Then when we get that interpretation, then we'll give it to the various, agencies who are supposed to take action with that information. So perhaps we would serve the CID with that information. And after they engage in their action, they would have to give a feedback as to whether the intelligence source was fully utilized, and this is what benefit we got from it. Unfortunately, the whole thing was in shambles, disorganized, and in a state of confusion and diffusion. We didn't even recognize how serious the issue is in the first
From your
place.
security
Standpoint, what does the country stand to lose if we are to say that, okay, fine, you are fighting to get your own territory, now take it. What do we stand to lose as Ghana?
One, it would motivate others from across the country to also want their independence. So I'm sure the North, they would want their Republic of Northern Ghana. The West, they would have their Republic of West because there's oil. You understand?
Yes.
The Ashantis, they have a lot of gold. So they would say, oh, okay, just like Lesotho, which is within South Africa, let us also have our Republic of Ashanti within Ghana. Okay, so it sends the wrong signals. Secondly, I think rather it's Swaziland, which is within. Secondly, it infringes on the constitution of Ghana. We are a sovereign unitary government with a territorial integrity to respect. So when we do that, we would even be flouting our own laws. Okay. Third, we have critical infrastructure there. So when they go out, it will definitely affect us. Okay, perhaps we will not have access to the electricity we had. We would have to negotiate with them. Okay, fine. All right, we'll sell it to you at this price. So pay this. And when we have power skyrocketing to 1,000% or 2,000%, it will affect you and I. You see, so we have a lot to lose as a country if we allow that. That is why I was particularly very opposed to negotiating with them, because when you do that, you are emboldening them. You are giving them
that there's an opportunity.
Yes, and you are giving them legitimacy. No, we would have to crash it, but like I said, crash it intelligently. If not, it would backfire in our face.
But if like you said, legally they have no right to even request their territory.
Absolutely not.
If they don't have the right to do the request, then why are we entertaining them, or why are we entertaining them in the first place?
No, like I indicated, we are not entertaining them. But the thing is, we didn't do our work as it should have been done, especially the intelligence community. They were so incompetent on that day, so to speak, and they didn't really gather the intelligence that should have been gathered to prevent all this from happening. We had a window of opportunity when we arrested them on 2 occasions.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't know what happened, whether the courts threw it out or I don't get it. They were left off the hook, and now Papa V is on the run. We are not able to get him. So the question is, do we even collaborate with the Togolese, with our Togolese counterparts? Because it is highly likely he's in Togo, or hiding somewhere else. So if you are not able, a small country like Ghana, find such a fugitive, how much intelligence can we gather?
To know that
even the man leading the fight, Papa V, is on a run, and we can't even find him. So if you are part of all of this and you are also cheering, hey, let's get our territory, hey, let's go in for it and all that, remember, the man leading you is on the run. And it's even nowhere to be found. The man cheering you on, inciting you to do what you want to do, we can't even find him.
Yeah, exactly. But you see, I have a message for their sympathizers. Like I indicated, we are a country that is governed. I would really want to look into the camera and talk about it. You see, we are in a country that is governed by the rule of law. Our democracy has come far. In fact, we have consolidated our democracy, especially since the inception of the Fourth Republic. We are a subject of envy, not just our neighbors within the West African sub-region, but the global community. And so it is imperative, we have a duty to protect the peace and security of Ghana that we have enjoyed over the period. And so if you have any concerns, if you have any issues with respect to feeling you have been unjustly treated, or your rights have been trampled upon, or you're not part of the development process, we have processes, we have procedures to follow, rather than wake up in the morning without even washing your face and declaring independence. That is not the solution. So I would entreat that, look, let's just take it easy. Stop going to the training camps. Completely stop it. We have rules, regulations. Speak with your lawyers. See the legal processes that can be explored. So at least you are giving some more credence in the eyes of the Ghanaian population, because currently the modus operandi is not helping your cause. It is rather creating disaffection amongst Ghanaians and belligerence amongst Ghanaians towards you. So I think you don't have to listen to Papa V and his ergs, because they are not helping your cause. They are there on their private business, whatever selfish dealings they want to engage in. And I think going forward, like I indicated, whatever you do, you would have to use your head. That is very key.
Now, using your head, let me ask you this really quick. So, when the military apprehended the so-called security men who were in the bush training as part of Western Togoland, because they are going to be their security personnel. Now, when they were ambushed, in an interview that I watched on TV on one of these channel, local channels, the gentleman said, we were told that we were coming to train as military men for Ghana and not for Western Togoland. We paid an amount of 800 Ghana cedi as registration fee and all that. So it looks like even them going there, they didn't know they were going to work for Western Togoland like they are being tagged as. Now they were lured into going there. What do you make of that as well?
Well, these are initial assessments and reports coming out. Okay. However, we have to be extremely circumspect, because if I were a commander there, I would conscientize. If tomorrow, it's just like being on an airplane where the attendants would show you when the airplane crashes into the sea, how to wear the life jacket and how to inflate it and all that. Okay. They pre-conscientize them as to what to say. If I were a commander, I'll do that. If tomorrow you are arrested, tell them this, tell them that. It's just like operating as a CIA. They always have what to say. If you ask them what work they do, oh, they will tell you, they will give you, even if you have a history, if perhaps they'll tell you they are in the civil service. If you even want a history of the civil service, they can tell you. They can tell you the office, they can tell you the colleagues there and all that. Meanwhile, they are doing something different. So they can coach them. And so I wouldn't want to make that hasty conclusion. I would prefer that we relax on that and let the security agencies do their work, because what usually is done is they would segment them either in groups or individually, interrogate them, and by interrogation doesn't mean a rope around your neck or your toes or fingers being chopped off. No. It can be just questions and answers. All right? Make deals. Take advantage of people's psyche or the way they think. Take advantage of the situation, so to speak. Sometimes, you know, it is an interrogation technique to invite you to the BNI headquarters and make you wait for 12 hours. You know, it's a tactic.
Yes.
Oh, you are still here. Oh, sorry, he will be in. Then we'll go. You'll be there. After 6 hours, we'll come. Oh, have you eaten? Don't worry. They'll bring you food. Then we'll go. After 6 hours, they would frustrate the hell out of you. So immediately, you'd want to give them the information you want to give them and leave. Okay, so there are many different techniques that can be used to get the right information, so we deal with it appropriately.
All right, but another information I'm getting is that there's been a release of a letter from Papa V and Co. That those security personnel who were ambushed in that particular place don't belong to them.
We don't expect them to say they belong to them.
Like you just said. Yes.
Absolutely not. Rather, that letter incriminates them more. You understand?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure if they were not their men, they would have just kept quiet, so it goes against the government, right?
Yes, they make the government look...
exactly.
Yes.
But the what we call rejoinder issue, that's rather incriminating them more. I wouldn't also want to pass judgments. No. I would just wait and see the outcome of the investigation.
But you believe whatever that's been sent by Papa V and the rest of the guys there, doesn't justify that the guy's not for them. you believe they are part of them?
From my initial unscientific assessments, they are part of the Togolanders.
All right. But sometimes I find it to be sad. So we arrested Papa V and among some other men and brought them to Accra via a military flight and all that. And suddenly we don't know how the issue actually happened next.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's mind-boggling, and I find it extremely shocking that they were engaged in such a treacherous activity. They are arrested and left off the hook. It was such an intelligence mistake. I think they should have made them go through the court process. On the other hand, I have a feeling that they wanted perhaps the dust to settle. They wanted everybody to be okay, fine. We've arrested them, we've let them go, so go to bed. No, that was stupid.
It's probably a tactic.
No, I mean the government perhaps wanted sleeping dogs to lie, but they didn't understand the seriousness of the issue at play. You see, so we let our guards down.
What you just said,
It sounds a bit off for me to say that they didn't understand the seriousness of the issue. It makes it look like the security sector of government is weak.
I've said it. It's been a central theme in my analysis since we started the interview. There was a great deal of incompetence on the part of the security agencies with respect to gathering actionable intelligence and taking action as required. Okay, we allowed them so much time, so much space to regroup and establish themselves to the extent that they look more like a formidable force to reckon with. When they went to the bush, I can imagine how many were there. I'm sure those they captured was just a little fraction.
Because the number is 21.
Yes, that figure. Good. But I think it goes beyond the 4 because we didn't even get their leaders.
How do you get to know
yeah, how do you get to know 4 if they have escaped? You know, it doesn't make sense. And you know, if you are recruited into the army, my brother, mostly you are brought to Accra, you are made to go through some orientation, then you go to an army approved training facility at Bondasi or somewhere, Sawasi, wherever. Unfortunately, the next minute you pay money, which Ghana Army doesn't take money before you are recruited. Are you stupid? The next minute you are in the bush training. It doesn't make sense.
That's your Christmas fee.
It doesn't make sense. Fee. They knew what they were into.
Yes.
From my initial assessment, I'm absolutely positively sure about that. They knew what they were into, just that they were coached what to say.
So imagine
in case of an emergency.
Guys
had not been apprehended until now.
What do you think would have been the issue?
You see, the thing is, we didn't even seize any weapons.
Did we find any?
No.
We didn't find any.
No.
We saw pots
from the information.
Pots and
you think they will train without weapons? You think that people are not armed already?
I saw some oil in red oil in bottles and all that.
My brother, the Togo, Ghana, the crossings and all that, they are so porous. Okay, I have personally gone to Saboba and other parts of the north. I've been on the Oti River. I've seen how porous the security there is. People wake up, cross the river into Togo, cross the river into Ghana without being subjected to any form of security checks. Ghana has become a very palatable destination for arms traffickers who use Ghana as a transit point to other parts of the West African subcontinent. And so I am tempted to believe, even though I don't have evidence to point to that fact, that these guys have the weapons.
Now, let me tell you something. So
when these guys were caught on camera and when they were speaking, we asked them, so what food do you eat here in this bush? Oh, and they said, we eat only bangkung and rice. So they are being fed with banku, and I wonder how they're able to train after eating 2 or 3 balls of banku. And, but the forest is quite thick.
Very thick.
And it can pass for a military base. Do you believe that?
Yes, because mostly the rebellions like the Tamil Tigers, the Lord's Resistance Army, the Colombian FARC rebels and all that, they seek shelter in the forest because it provides them cover. They understand the forest even more than the mainstream military. And you wouldn't be able to monitor them from the air. Mostly the military might use helicopters or fighter jets to see what is going on. But in the thick of the forest, there's no way you can locate them. It becomes extremely laborious for the military. And so they have the perfect conditions to be able to thrive.
So just maybe if you're out there and I don't know where you are I mean hailing for, whether you be in Ghana or being it those fighting to get their
own territory, Togoland, Western Togoland, you just might want to think twice about it. Like you say, being the man himself,
Papa V, who claims to be the leader and blah blah blah.
It's nowhere to be found, and it's a question mark there for Ghana, our security and our authorities. Now you claim, and you made us understand that these guys are doing something that is not legal. So you went all the way there to arrest them and brought them all the way to Accra. And
what happened? Nothing. So that's a big question
mark on the security issues here in Ghana. I don't know. I salute to our military men out there. Salute to our police personnel out there. Salute to anyone who is actually involved in anything security here in Ghana. But the fact that we are saying you guys are doing well, the president keeps saying they are providing a lot of logistics for security men out there. Police people keep getting cars, military keep getting this and that. What is the result? Somebody said Ghana have never been to war before, so we should test the strength of our military. It's the time for us to test the strength of our military.
No, of course
it's not the time.
We
can go and barricade there. We can barricade there. We can use this is human barricade.
This is not all about military, because, like I indicated, the most important is the human security. You see, the problem is we militarize almost every security issue, whether it's chieftaincy. Whether it's terrorism and all that, but we forget the most important
that's
aspects.
The language it looks like Ghanaians, we understand. Somebody said if you want to stop sanitation in Ghana, put the military man right on the street and see
that's when you are dealing with civilians on a day-to-day basis. But when you are dealing with a body which is hell-bent on having independence, of course, they say if the blind man, sorry, my tree has come today. If the blind man says he would hurl a stone at you, he has it in his hands already.
Yes.
So if they say they want to secede, it means they know what they have stepped on already. You know, they know what they have already, and so they might be prepared.
I've seen pictures of their first cabinet meetings and all that. I've seen pictures and videos of that, their first cabinet meetings. And I wonder, that was even before they were arrested. So I wonder what and how we are dealing these issues. And so listen, live here on Hold the Morning. This is the focus. My name is Bright Nana Kwesi. I'm in time check. It's exactly 9:19 a.m. And I'm still here with Adib Saani, who is a security expert, locally and internationally. He's done it all, he's seen it all. So what I want to say is I really have faith in his work, because we know how far he has come, unlike others. Just saying. Anyway, so thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you.
Quickly before you go, we spoke about some initiative. Maybe you might just want to give a quick info on that.
Yeah. We're still deliberating about how exactly we're going to do it. We want to make an attempt to reach out to the people, let them understand what their role is with respect to managing security in the country. We've always thought that it is a work of the men and women in uniform, but we also have a very important role to play. And so one of the ways you can harness that is to engage the people, create awareness, make them understand what their role is. And so hopefully we'll be partnering. The Jetski Center for Human Security and Peace Building will be partnering with HSTV. So we engage in that activity. But as to the modus, we'll announce it in due course. But it's just for our viewers to know.
So know that we are not leaving you just with talks, okay? We are coming on field with you and making sure that you understand what security really is and how properly you can secure yourself. Let's not just wait to when something happens and we call security personnel. Before it even happens, what are your first reaction to the situation? Can you even guard your own self? This has been Focus here on Healthy Morning. My name is Bright and Amaning. Nelly, our 11th sir, will be joining me. Before we say bye, don't go anywhere. And before we sign out, we'll be talking a little bit about a beautiful art on the Tisakwasi interchange here in Accra. I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.
Good morning to you. It's so nice to see you. It's fun reading